we move to the definition of production. The definition of production is the process of using the factor of production to produce goods and services. So, as you can see, from the input, we process it to become the output. Okay, the input was the factors of production that is used in production process. Okay, example of factors of production is land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. So the output is finished product we get at the end of production, such as goods and services. So as example, for example, we want to make a clothes, so we need a designer, right? So the designer is the input because it is labor, and the output is the clothes because it was a goods. Okay, so we move to the production function. Production function is a statement of the functional relationship between inputs and outputs, where it shows the maximum output that can be produced with given inputs. So function the function is Q, which is output, Q which is output, Q which is output equal with function of capital, labor, and raw material. Okay. So so we move to the factor of production or input. Okay. Um. Okay. So we move to the factor of production or input. Okay. We have four factor of production or input. Okay, the first one is land. It refers to the natural resources like raw materials, activities such as farming, planting, fishing, mining, and foresting. Payment for the use of land is rent. Okay, the second one is labor. It involves physical skill and mental skill in producing goods or services. Okay, like example, some people they are good with their hands, like carpenter. So that is for physical skill, and for the mental skill, they we can see that there is some people can deliver their idea for what to do, like architect. Okay, the quantity is determined by size of population, age, distribution. Quantity is determined by level of education, training. Okay, payment for the use of laborers is wages. Okay, the third one is capital. Tools and equipment used in producing capital or consumer goods. Okay, so like example, we want to design our clothes, so we need to sew the clothes or put the decoration on it. So we need tools for it for produce the good and the pretty clothes. So the capital goods is an investment that facilitates the production of consumer goods. Payment for the use of capital is interest. Okay, and the last one is entrepreneur, a person who takes the initiative to combine all the resources to produce something. So the entrepreneur is the one who use all the factor of production input. It combines all the land, labor, and capital to produce something. It makes the decision on what, how, and for whom to produce. It bears all the risk. Payment to the entrepreneur is profit. Okay, we move to the types of input. So we have two types of input. The first one is fixed input. It is an input which the quantity just does not change according to the amount of output. Okay, so for example, machinery, land, buildings, tools, and equipment. So in fixed input, we cannot change the amount. We cannot change the quantity. Even though we want to make the output, we want to make many output, we cannot change the input. Okay, such as for example, like we want to make clothes, so um, but the fixed input doesn't have to change. because it doesn't mean if you want to make many clothes, make we need to you we need to buy many more and more input. Okay, so we move to the second one. It is variable input. It is an input which the quantity changes according to the amount of output. Okay, the example of raw materials, electricity, fuel, transportation, and communication. Okay. Um, okay, let's say we want to make 10 tables. So we, we must not use one wood only, right? We must buy a lot of wood. If we not buy a lot of wood, then how can we produce the 10 tables that we want? So it means we need to, so the wood must change, the quantity must change according to how much we want to produce the table. If you want to produce if you want to produce 10 table, then you need to buy a lot of woods. Okay. Okay, we move to the short run and long run period. Okay, short run period is the time frame which at least one of the inputs factor of production is fixed and other inputs can be varied. Okay, so the second one is long run period, is the time frame which all inputs are variable. Okay, so the short run period, at least in the short run period, we must have at least one fixed input. For the long run period, all the input must be variable. There is no fixed input in long run period. Okay, we move to the short run production function formula. Okay, we have three formula, which is the first one is total product. The short form for it is TP. The total product is the maximum output that can be produced by firms using different combinations of inputs, fixed input and variable input. The formula is total product equal to average product times variable factor. Okay. The second one is average product. The short form is AP. The average product is the output per unit of variable input or total product divided by quantity of variable factor. Total output divided by the amount of variable output. Okay. The third one is marginal product. The short form for it is MP. Marginal product is the change in the total product when one more unit of a variable factor is employed with all others input used remain constant. Okay, the formula is changes in total product divided by changes in quantity of variable output, quantity of variable factor. Okay, so what is the, okay, we move to the short run production function. In the short run, we assume that at least one of the inputs is fixed, and that is capital. Therefore, in the short run, the production function can be written as Q, which is output, equal to function of capital fixed and labor. So as we can see in the screen, if you want to make the output for short run production, we need at least one input that is fixed. If we don't have one fixed input, then it doesn't belong to short run. It belongs to long run production. The relation between this formula and the table and this table. Okay, as you can see, the capital is fixed input from the start and to the end. As you can see, it is the same. It is the same amount. So the labor is variable input. So we have from 0 to 10. So the total total product. So how we want to find the total product? So we can use the formula in here, okay, which is the average product. We can average product times with quantity of variable factor. So let's see the example for the total product. So how we want to get total product 8 at number 8. So the the out the average product we must times with quantity of variable factor, which is variable input, which is labor. So average product. So as you can see, the average product is number 8, and labor is 1. So we times 1 with 8, and we can get the total product 8. So other example is total product in number 50. So the average product is 10, and the labor, which is variable input, is 5. So 5 times with average product, which is 10, we can get the total product 50. Okay, so let's move to the marginal product. Marginal product, how we want to get marginal product? So in the formula, marginal product is changes in total product divided with changes in quantity variable factor or input. Okay, so how we want to find the average product, marginal product? Okay, let's say the total product in number 20 and 8. So we calculate, we minus it, and we can see the change is 12. So 12 we divide with changes in quantity of variable factor. So quantity in variable factor, which is 1. Okay, so we can get the marginal product, which is 12. Okay, for average product, the total product we divide with quantity of variable factor. Total product. Okay, so let's see the example of average product at number 9. Okay, so the total product we divide with the total product is 54. We divide with labor, which is 6. So we get the average product is 9. Okay, for the stages of production, we want to see how efficient the company is. Okay, for stage 1, how we want to divide the stages. Okay, for the stage 1, it was from 0 until marginal product match with average product, and we call it intersect. Okay, for the stage 2, from intersection point of marginal product and average product until marginal product become 0 again. Okay, for stage 3, from the negative number in marginal product until the end. Okay, even though the marginal product start to decrease, it doesn't mean we need to stop work, because if you look at the total product, it still increase. So we need to stop, take a new worker, or adding variable input, because it start to be negative. If it is negative, total product start to decline, so it doesn't bring good for the firm. So we need to take the maximum total product. So as you can see, the maximum total product in the table until number 56, and then after number 56, the marginal product start to become negative because it decline. It start to decline. The because it start to decline. Okay, so for law of diminishing, so we move to the law of diminishing marginal returns. The law of diminishing returns refers to the short-run production function, where there is at least one fixed factor or input. This law is also known as the law of variable proportions. The more variable input combined with fixed input at one point, output will be declined. In law of diminishing return, there are concepts of total product, average product, and marginal product. We learned about concept of total product, average product, and marginal product just now. So what mean by the more variable input combined with fixed input at one point, output would be declined. So, because like there is certain point, the output can increase. The output can increase because of fixed input factor. It has certain level of tolerance, so we need to know the capacity of fixed input in order to increase optimum output. If not, the output would be declined. So we don't need it anymore. So we move to the stages of production. Usually, if we want to draw this diagram, we doesn't need scale, so we just sketch it. Okay. How we want to draw how we want to know if the marginal returns is increasing, diminishing, or negative. So we look at the marginal product. If marginal product increase, we call it increasing marginal returns. At stage 2, even though we start to diminish, we don't start higher worker. So we need to add more worker. So this is how we will see the total product at maximum point. Okay, the capital. Okay, I forgot to say what is important in stages 1 until 3. It is in economy, efficiency is very important. Where you want to take out the capital, if we start in business, we must want to have more production. Why? Because we want to have more income, more profit. Okay, so in stage 1, why in stage 1 it is not efficient? Because why? Because the output is still increasing, but not to the maximum point. You can see the line for total product in stage 1. It's not to the maximum point, so it's not good for the company. Why it doesn't need its maximum point? Because of proportion of fixed factors are greater than variable factors. Okay. It means we have a lot of machines, but little of workers to handle the machine. Obviously, the number of output doesn't increase because of little of workers. Stage 1 doesn't have to maximize. Stage 1 doesn't have to maximize the production. Stage 1 doesn't have to maximize the product or revenue, so it becomes a waste of resources. What we need to do is we need to add more of variable input. Okay. Other than that, such as for stage 1, underutilization of fixed factor, operation involves waste of resources. Okay, so for the stage 2, which is diminishing marginal returns, we call it as law of diminishing returns, the most efficient stage of production because the combination's inputs are fully utilized. Okay. Oh, I'm so. Okay, okay. Okay, in stage 2, it means is we. Okay, let's say we have 10 machine, and we have suitable number of worker, and that help to maximize the production. So it's a good stage. If you want to add more of workers, the total product won't increase because we have fixed input, which is the 10 machine. So unless we want to add more machine, we can add more worker. But it doesn't happen in short run because right now we tell about short run, not in the long run. Okay. Let's move to the stage 3, which is proportion of fixed factors is lower than variable factors, which means we have, like example, we have 10 machine but 100 workers. So the machine wants tolerate with extra variable input. Okay, the second one is increase in variable factors, decline the total product because of overcrowding. Okay, which means it's too many workers, so the workers need to take turns to use the machine. So if the workers push the machine too hard until it works outside its capacity, then it will broke. So we need cars to repair it. But at the same time, we need to pay salary for the workers. So the production we make is very little and we need to pay for the cost. So it's not good for this stage. Okay. Increase in that is a producer would not like to operate at this stage.
Okay, next we move to type of cost. So in type of cost, we have short run and long run. So first is I want to explain about short run cost of production. As we know, in short run cost, production use at least one fixed input with one or more variable inputs. So as we can see, there are two costs in fixed cost and variable cost. Okay, now I want to explain about short run cost of production. Okay, in short run cost, production use at least one fixed input with one or more variable inputs. It means even though we produce more input, we still have one fixed input. So short run cost of production have two costs. First is fixed cost and second is variable cost. So fixed cost, it do not vary with output. It means it do not have any relationship with output. They are fixed in the short run as time is too short to increase the size of fixed input. So for example, is rent. So next we move to variable cost. Variable cost is vary with output. It means it has relationship with output. So producer can increase the variable inputs by increasing the quantity. For example, is raw materials. So when producer want to increase the output, they have to increase the raw materials too. So next is type of cost in the short run time. So this is the type of cost. So we have total, average, and marginal cost. So for total, we have three, that is total fixed cost, total variable cost, and total cost. And for average, we also have average fixed cost, average variable cost, and average total cost. And lastly is marginal cost. So now we look at this total first. So first is total fixed cost. The nickname is TFC, and second is total variable cost, TVC, and lastly is total cost. So for total fixed cost, it refers to costs spent on fixed inputs such as rental. So it do not refer to the cost spent on output. So we just see as fixed input. So it means, as I said, it has no relationship between total fixed cost and the level of output. So as we can see on the screen, whether the output increase or not, the total fixed cost also same. So for example, even though we increase the higher level of output, the total fixed cost still same. It's still 5,000. So next is total variable cost. It refers to the cost spent on variable inputs such as cost of raw materials. So the cost input that change with output, direct relationship between TVC and the output levels. So as I said also, the variable input has good relationship with output. It has positive relationship. As output increase, the total variable cost also increase. When output 0, the TVC also 0. So next is total cost. So for total cost, the total cost is sum of total fixed cost and total variable cost. So the formula is to get total cost, the total fixed cost must add with the total variable cost. So direct relationship between total cost and output. So when output increase, the total cost also increase because it is sum of the total cost is sum of total variable cost also. So it has a relationship between TVC also. So as we can see, total variable, when output increase, TVC increase, so it has same with total cost. So TC will not start by 0 as TFC incur it. So TC is influenced by the TVC over the TVC. So next we look at the graph. So this is the graph of the total. So this is the graph of total fixed cost, total variable cost, and total cost. So as we can see, the TFC is a straight line. This is a straight line because it do not have any relationship between output, so it will still same even though the output increase. And the total fixed cost, total variable cost, it will increase when output increase. So this is the shape curve. And the total cost, it also has same shape with total variable cost because when output increase, the total cost will increase, but it will not start by the 0. It will start with TFC because it is combination between TVC and TFC. So this is the shape curve of total cost. So next we move to average. So average also, as I say, average have average fixed cost, AFC, average variable cost, AVC, and average total cost, ATC. So for average fixed cost, AFC, fixed cost is for fixed cost per unit of output. TFC is constant as production increase. So AFC falls when production increase. So if TFC, total fixed cost, will have straight line where even though the output increased, but AFC different. AFC will decrease even though the production increase. So the formula to get AFC is total fixed cost divide with output, or ATC minus with AVC. So it will get average fixed cost. So the shape curve of AFC is hyperbola. So next is average variable cost. So for average variable cost per unit of output. So the formula to get AVC is TVC divided with output, or average cost minus with average fixed cost. So AVC is the U-shaped curve, and lastly is average total cost, ATC. So the total cost per unit of output. So formula for get ATC is AFC, average fixed cost minus with average variable cost, or total cost divided with output. So ATC also is a U-shaped curve. So next we move to the graph. So as I say, this is average fixed cost graph, average variable graph, average variable cost graph, and this is the combination of average total cost. So AFC curve is shown as declining curve which never touch the horizontal axis because the total fixed cost never have relationship with output, so it will not start with the zero. So next is ABC. So ABC decrease in the first stage of production, reach the minimum, then will increase because it is with total variable cost. It has relationship with the variable cost. So the shape is U-shape because of the law of diminishing marginal return. So next is average total cost. So this is the AFC, and then this is ABC line, ABC curve, and then it consists of AFC and AVC. So output increase, ATC decrease, since both AFC and AVC are decreased. So it is a U-shaped curve because it consists of AFC and AVC. So this is ATC minimum and this is AVC minimum. So lastly, for the type of in the short run cost, lastly is marginal cost. So marginal cost is additional cost resulting from producing an additional unit of output. So it is U-shaped curve. So two formula will be used to get the marginal cost. First is change in total cost divided with change in output, or we can use marginal cost equal with change in total variable cost divided with change in output. So this is the graph for marginal cost. It is U-shaped. It is U-shaped curve. So first it will immediately fall because output increase and reach a minimum point, and first is it will decrease at output increase, so they will be reach a minimum point, and then marginal cost will start to increase due to an increase in the total variable cost, because total variable cost have relationship with output. So output increase, the total variable cost also increase. So next, this is the relationship between average variable cost and average total cost. So this is the graph of that. So the AVC will increase because when we produce more output, so we have to pay more variable cost, so it will increase. So ATC and AVC has a combination, so this will be at the minimum. So this is also will be at minimum. So this is the loop. So next we move to relationship between run production and short run cost. So the cost curve and the cost curve and the production curve are interlinked. So there is an inverse relationship between AVC with AP and MC with MP. So this is relationship between average product of labor and average variable cost curve. So this is the loop. So as output raise, so AP also will raise and AVC will decrease because of spreading of fixed costs. So it will be AP maximum at this, and then there will be AVC minimum. So both of fixed and variable inputs will have best combination because this is in maximum and then this is at minimum. So after that it will decrease and this will be increase. So next we move to relationship between marginal product of labor MP and marginal cost MC curve. So MP also will increase at first and then they will reach MP maximum and then it will be decreased variable input, and at marginal cost first it will be decreased and then reach the marginal cost minimum and then it will increase to the marginal rate. So it will make a U-shaped curve. So marginal cost decrease due to spreading of fixed costs. So both MP maximum and MC minimum will have a better proportion. So yeah, it's a U-shaped curve. So this is the relationship between them. So next we move to long run cost of production. So as we know, long run is a period where all inputs are variable factors. It means there are no fixed inputs in long run cost of production. Firms can alter their factors such as expanding plant size if the demand is high. So it means if the production want to increase their production, their output, they will expanding the variable factors. So this you will have two for a long run cost. First is long run total cost as LRTC. We call it as LRTC. So the curve is same with the variable cost, total variable cost. So as output increase, the long run total cost also increase. So next is long run average cost, LRAC. So the formula to get LRAC is LRTC divided with output. So this is the curve. So to get the curve of LRAC, this is combination with short run average cost. It means it derived by a series of short run average cost curve. So next is relationship between long run production and long run cost. So this is the graph. So first is it will decrease, falling. So LRAC falling due to increasing return to scale at first, and then it reached at LRAC minimum due to returns to scale, and then it will decreasing due to decreasing return to scale. So it will increasing due to decreasing return to scale, and then for the last is return for returns. So it will at first it will increase and then reach the constant, and then it will decrease due to returns to scale. So this at this it will have relationship between of them. So at this LRAC minimum due to constant return to scale, and at this is constant, so it will have combination and or we call as relationship between LRAC and law of return to scale because they reach at their line. So for the last, this is the LRC, so it will be scale. So this is when decreasing cost of industry, increasing return to scale. So for increasing return to scale, it means all of the factors of production are increased and given in output proportion. So output will increase and all the factors will increase by a greater proportion at this place, and then it will constant. All factors of production also increase and output increase by at the same proportion, and then it will increase. First it will decrease and then it will constant and then it will increase because of all of factors of production increase. Output also increase but by a smaller proportion. So decreasing cost industry, increasing return to scale, and then this is economy of scale. It happens, and then at this it will be this economy of scale. So increasing cost industry, decreasing return to scale. So this is the LRC because economy and diseconomy of scale are measured in terms of a firm's long-run average cost. So that is the combination between economy of scale and diseconomy of scale, because in the long run we just have increasing return to scale. We have increasing return to scale. So that is happen. Oh, because I forgot, the long run average cost curve (LRAC) shows the minimum cost of producing any given output when all of the inputs are variables. To conclude, to make short, firms plan how to minimize average cost. So that is for type of cost. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Hanisa binti Mustafa. Today I'm going to present one of the topic from topic 5, which is theory and cost production. I'm going to present about law of return to scale. As you can see right now, there are 4 butterflies right here, which is scale of production, long run production cost, economies of scale, and diseconomies of scale. We're going to through one by one. So now we proceed to scale of production. As we can see right now, there are 3 types of scale of production, which is increasing returns to scale, decreasing returns to scale, and constant returns to scale. According to Wikipedia, in microeconomics, economies of scale are the cost of advantages that enterprises obtain due to their scale of operation, typically measured by the amount of output produced, with cost per unit of output decreasing with increasing scale. So, when average costs start falling as output increases, then economies of scale occur. Now we proceed to increasing returns to scale. It has happened when all the factors of production are increased in a given proportion. Output would increase by a greater proportion. So as we can see on the graph, this is the graph when labor and capital are doubled, which is from 100 to 200. Both are increased by 100%. So the output increases from 20 units to 60 units, which is more than double. The causes of increasing returns to scale are specialization, technical economies, managerial economies, which are also known as economies of scale. So now we proceed to decreasing returns to scale. What is decreasing returns to scale? Decreasing returns to scale happen when all the factors of production are increased in a given proportion. Output would increase by a smaller proportion. So as we can see on the graph right now, there are not many differences between the increasing returns to scale. The difference between increasing and decreasing returns to scale are just now the increasing returns to scale are more than double, but decreasing returns to scale are less than double, which is when labor and capital are double, which is 100 to 200%. Both are still increasing in 100%. However, output increases from 20 units to 30 units, which is less than double. So the causes of decreasing returns to scale are internal and external diseconomies of scale. The internal and external diseconomies of scale, we're going to talk about it later. And the last type of scale of production is cost returns to scale. What is constant returns to scale? Constant returns to scale happen when all the factors of production are increased in a given proportion. Output would increase by same proportion. As we can see, this is the same graph with the decreasing and increasing returns to scale, but the difference is the how many output increases, which is on this constant returns to scale, the output increases from 20 units to 40 units, even when the labor and capital are double, which is 100 units to 200 units. As we can see right now, the percentage of increasing the capital and labor are both same, which is 100%, 100 to 200. So that is the scale of production. So now we fly to another butterfly, which is long run production cost. So as we can see on the screen right now, this is long run production cost. As we know, long run production is subject to law of returns to scale. However, short run production is subject to law of diminishing marginal returns. So that is short run production. But now we are discuss about long run production. So what is law of returns to scale? The definition law of returns to scale is the law of returns to scale explain the proportional change in output with respect to proportional change in input. So we proceed to long run production cost. Long run production cost is actually long run production costs have the long run average cost curve, which is LRAC. It is a U shape due to the law of returns to scale. The law of returns to scale states that as the firm expands its size or scale of production, its long run average cost, which is LRAC, will decrease and increase at later stage. As we see the graph right now, this is the graph that shows the U shape of LRAC. At the first part of the graph, it is shown the increasing returns to scale, and at the middle of part, it shows constant returns to scale, and at the end of the graph, it is show decreasing returns to scale. This is the type of scale of production that I just explained just now. So we proceed to long run production cost. Actually, it is long run average cost curve that are derived by a series of short run average cost curve. As we can see on the graph right now, the tangential point of the short run average cost curve are joined and made up the long run average cost curve. So we connect all the dot, which is the tangential point of the short run average cost curve. So this is the final graph. So the cost curve in the long run is a period when there are only variable factors and no fixed cost involved. There is no fixed cost involved. So long run total cost, which is LRTC, starts from origin because of the absence of total fixed cost. Long run average cost, which is LRAC, the graph that showed just now, it shows the minimum cost of producing any given output when all the input are variable. Long run is a period where firms plan how to minimize average cost. So now we proceed to economies of scale. What is economies of scale? Economies of scale is the advantage of large scale of production. The economies of scale can be divided into two types: internal economies of scale and external economies of scale. The internal economies of scale will rise as a result of a firm's internal decision to grow in size. So the economies of scale will reduce the average cost. As we can see right now, the economies of scale is divided by two factors, which is internal factors and external factors. And now we move to the internal factors. Internal factors happen inside an organization. We have a lot of internal factors that have been listed down on the screen right now. So now we proceed to the labor economies. Labor economies refer to the specialization of labor and allows the workers to concentrate and specialize in jobs that they are more capable. For example, a worker just has to concentrate in one task, so they will become expert and can produce more input. It is because it will become more efficient and productive than the same worker that have to do several tasks. So the production will increase and cost of production will decrease. Now we proceed to marketing economies. Marketing economies is the economies of buying and selling in bulk, which is buy in big amount. For example, the big company will buy the material in bulk, so it will get discount and reduce the cost of production. As we conclude, the more we buy, the more discount we get and the less cost of production. Next, we move to financial economies. Financial position where a large firm can raise capital more easily than a small firm. For example, large firm easily get loan with a lower interest rate and longer maturity period than small firm. This because the person who give the loan, for example, bank, they have more trust issue with large firm more than small firm. Next, administrative economies. Administrative economies, also the large firm can set up different departments according to their needs, such as sales department, personnel department, quality control department, and more. So employment of professional to identify the advantage of the workers. So it will ensure higher productivity and higher returns, and it will reduce the average cost. Next, risk-bearing economies. It is a large firm producing multiple products. For example, Nestle have many products such as Maggi, Milo, Nestum. So if one of the business down, for example, if the Nestum down, other business which is Maggi and Milo can back up. So now we proceed to external factors. External factors. What is external factors? External factors is the advantages of the industry as a whole. So as we can see, there are four of external factors. So we proceed to economies of concentration. Economies of concentration refer to the concentration of firm in one area. For example, if the firm located in Langkawi near the port, they can reduce the cost of production. As we know, Langkawi is famous with chocolate. So if the firm locate their business at Langkawi, they can reduce the cost of production because they can buy the chocolate way more cheaper than other places. So now we proceed to economies of government action. Economies of government action refers to the facilities to the industry such as water supply, road, railways, and more, so that infrastructure can smooth the process of the whole industry. Lastly, economies of information. To expose consumers to new product, firm in the industry will discuss and get information between company, so they will get knowledge and will increase economy of skills. So now we jump to the these economies of scale. These economies of scale don't have many different with economies of scale. If the purpose of economies of scale will reduce the average cost, on the other hand, these economies of scale will increase the average cost. These economies of scale are problems and disadvantages faced by a firm when it expands production. So when the firm want to expand his business, so they will get these economies of scale too. So as we know, it is same with economies of scale. These economies of scale also have the internal factors and external factors. So we proceed to the internal factors. Internal factors, it will raise the cost of production of a firm as the firm expand. As we can see, we proceed to the labor diseconomies, which is low morale. So low morale is routine of work for these laborers will causing laborers lose interest in work because it was the same routine. So the laborers will get bored for doing the same thing every day to get paid. So it will decrease the productivity. Price input increase when mass production exists. Firms need more input. It will make price of increase. Next, we proceed to management problems. Management problems to controlling and co-coordinating when there is mass production. If a firm need large production, labor need to increase and cost of production will be increased too. Otherwise, to manage, the labor need increase in cost of production too. Lastly, technical difficulties, which is technology problems, where a firm need large-scale production, but their machine or technology have certain capacity of production. Meanwhile, for external, the factors from expansion of the whole industry and causing decreasing in return or sales and increasing cost production. Now we proceed to external factors, diseconomies of scale. The external factors is the disadvantages faced by the industry as a whole. There are some external factors that we have, such as scarcity of raw material. As we know, when a firm expand its production, they will face the scarcity, such as raw material, such as mineral, cuprum, and more. Next, we have concentration problem, such as traffic jam, have been charged by government, and more. It is because when firm locate the business in the middle of the big city, we know that the place will be crowded. So it is always happen the traffic jam. So it will reduce the efficiency in progress. So it will increase the average cost, because so when the traffic jam happens, the cost of the gas will increase, services of the motor vehicle of the firm will increase. So these concentration problems will increase the average cost. Now we proceed to wage differential. The wage differential is happen between industry. So when a firm need increase in labor, the wage for labor need to increase to attract new labor to work with them. So cost of production will increase. For another example, if another firms such as firms A and firms B, if the workers on the firm A have been offered more wages from firm B, so as we know, opportunity seldom knocks twice, right? So as the worker that have been offered more paid, I think this is impossible to the laborers to stay at the current work that she or he works right now. So that's it. This is all about the law of returns to scale. So thank you.